Hello, my name is Minecraft Phenom08, and this is episode 17 of my 1 Billion Iron Ingot Challenge in Minecraft 1.16. In today's episode, I am going to be building a reactor and turbine combination using the mod Bigger Reactors, which is a continuation of the old mod Big Reactors. So let's get started. So I should have just about everything I need in this modular storage unit right here, which is basically a chest that I can pick up and take with me. So let's do that right now, and let's travel over to this building right here, which has been set up so that I can build a reactor and a turbine. So let's go ahead and plop everything down, or let's plop this modular storage unit down, and let's start to grab some stuff. So the first thing I need to build is actually the reactor. So let me grab the reactor components that I'm going to be using here, which is basically all of the reactor casings, reactor coolant ports, reactor fuel rods, some reactor glass, a reactor terminal, and I believe also some of these emeralds. And the emeralds are going to be used in the interior of the reactor to basically make it more efficient. So the first thing I need to do is I need to plot out how big everything is going to be. I've built stuff like this in the past, and I know that I want my turbines to be 12 long, so let me plot this out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then my reactor will start here, and it should be 5 wide. Okay, so that is where everything's going to be. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take my flex bore here, and I'm going to punch a hole in this floor. And one more thing I do need to do is I need to plot out how wide these turbines are going to be. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're both going to be 7 wide. They're going to be 7 by 7 by 12, 12 being the length, not the height. So let's go ahead and punch out the hole in the floor for where the reactor is going to be. And the reactor is going to be directly adjacent to the turbines. And I'm actually going to build two turbines today. So let's do that. Let's get rid of these because I just needed those as kind of landmarkers, and then there. So I'm going to have the bottom of the reactor in the floor here. That way I can actually access it from the basement, which I do have, basically like I have in most of my buildings. I do have a basement for IO and stuff. So I'm going to grab this wand to make building just a little bit easier. And then I'm going to set this wand to be left-right mode, which it's already in. And then I'm just going to build this across the floor here. Okay, so there we go. And then I think what I'm going to do, and do I have auto jump on? Or, yeah, that was weird. Because I don't. Let's build this up. For right now, I'm only going to build it to be 7 higher than the floor, so it'll be actually 8 high because it's actually in the floor. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me make sure I did that right. Yeah, that should be correct. And then let's go ahead and build the rest of the frame here. I didn't mean to place that there. So this is a pretty simple process, and I actually built a reactor at this base previously. However, that reactor is not meant to be used with turbines, and so this turbine or this system is going to be a whole lot more efficient and provide a lot more energy than the reactor by itself. So that'll help me out tremendously because right now my reactor is kind of getting towards the limits of how much energy it can make. These reactors are throttleable, and that is one thing that I really like about them. So let's go ahead and finish out the shell of the reactor, and then we can start throwing down some reactor glass. So I'm just going to place this all around, and then I'm going to use my wand to build it up. It makes it super easy to build up if you have a wand. So let's grab this wand, and I need to change its mode to be no restriction whatsoever, and then we can just build this entire thing up. So the only thing here is I need to do that, and that was, I could have built on the side and that would have been bad, but I did that correctly. So we kind of have the shell here. Now I need to decide where I'm going to have the fuel rods. So let me grab these reactor fuel rods for right now, and let me find the middle. I know that I want a fuel rod in the exact middle here. So let's just kind of build that up to the top, and then we'll have a control rod on top of that. But then I need to plot out where I want my other fuel rods as well. So I think I'm going to put them, I'm going to space them one away. So I'm going to have a space in between here. And let's just go ahead and build these up. and then the other one is right here. 3 fuel rods should be enough to provide enough steam for my 2 turbines that I'm going to have. So that's why I'm only going to have 3 fuel rods, whereas I think the reactor that I currently have in the basement there has something like 5 fuel rods. But these reactors, if you make steam instead of directly make energy, they are a lot more efficient. And so that's why we're going to need fewer fuel rods. So in the future, I'm actually going to build this tower bigger, and I'm going to have turbines kind of like on every level. So I'm going to have like a floor up here, and then I'm going to have more turbines. But for right now, I'm just going to have the turbines. I'm going to have 2 turbines, and the reactor is going to be this tall. It's actually rather simple to basically increase the size of the reactor. All I have to do is kind of whack off the top and just extend the height of it. And these reactors can be rather large. I'm not quite sure what the actual limit is, but they can be quite large. So let's go ahead and add some of the other things that we'll need. So I do need a terminal here so that I can control the reactor. So I'm going to put that right there. And then I'm actually going to try to put these reactor control rods on the bottom. I don't know if we can do that in this iteration of the mod. In one of the former iterations, I think it was called Extreme Reactors, you could put the control rods on the bottom as well. So I'm going to try that because that would be rather nifty if I could do that, but I don't really think I can. One more thing I need to add to the interior are these emerald blocks here. And so what these emerald blocks will do is they will basically make the reactor more efficient and create more energy if I place them in the cardinal directions around each of my fuel rods here. So I don't need to place them in the corners or anything. I just need to place them in the cardinal directions away from my fuel rods. So I'm going to use my wand once again, and I'm going to build this up, and that should work really, really well and easily. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put glass on the top of this, and we're going to finish this out. I'm going to use my wand for this and move this back to the left to right. That way I don't accidentally place a bunch of glass on top of the reactor. Whoops. Good thing I can fly. And now we can just run that across. So it kind of looks like I do need my control rods on top because I think it should have formed up. So that's one thing I will have to change, I think. So let's go ahead and actually add some of the things that we don't have that we need. We still need coolant ports here. So for my coolant ports, I need 2 of them going to each turbine, one as an inlet and one as an outlet. And is that the correct positions for those? I don't feel like that's correct. Yeah, that has to be correct, right? Actually, I probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I have that correct. I'm just, yeah. It just looks weird because it doesn't look centered because the reactor is actually 8 high. But that is where I need those. So let's go ahead and drop those coolant ports in. And I need to do the same thing over here. So I need to make sure it's in the center of the turbine. So that would be on the fourth block there. And then what I need to do now is I need to use a wrench of some sort to change one of them to be a steam output because right now they're both water inputs. So basically, steam will go into a turbine, it will spin the turbine and turn back into water, and then go back into the reactor through this port right here. So on the bottom here, we need to do a few more things. I do need to add a few coolant ports, and I think I'm going to do the coolant ports over here to add water initially to the reactor. So that's what these are going to be. Let's just put them right there. And then over here, I do need the IO for the fuel. So we're going to do that right here. Okay, so one thing I didn't actually do, and I thought I did, is I thought I put the reactor control rods down here, but I didn't do that. So let's go ahead and do that. The reactor may or may not form up. If I can have the control rods down here, that would be fantastic, but it doesn't look like I can. Yeah, that's fine. It would have been preferable to have them on the bottom because I can obviously access them from the basement, but that's not really a big deal. So let's just go ahead and remove these and replace them with the reactor casings. And then we can put those control rods on top, and it should work fine. So the reactor should form up here in a second when I drop these in place. Cool. And that looks good. So the next thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and set up the turbines. So I'm actually going to build one on camera and then one off camera because the second one is going to be the exact same as the first one. So there's no need in building it twice. So let's go ahead and drop off all of our reactor stuff because we don't need that anymore. I will need the wand though. So let's start grabbing the turbine stuff. So that would be turbine casing, turbine coolant ports, turbine glass, a lot of turbine glass. And then we have some, actually let's stop there because obviously my inventory is kind of full. So what I'm going to do right now, and actually, you know what, I'm going to start building both of them because it's kind of easier that way. Because of my wand here, it just makes, I guess I'm going to kind of build one, and then I'm going to really build the other. So I think, did I do that right? I might have made it too long. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I did. I made it one too long. That's not really a problem though. And let's go ahead and just use the wand on this one as well. And this is just kind of the floor. And I did the same thing. My goodness. Sloppy. Okay, so let's just go ahead and build this turbine now. So I just need to build this up, and actually it'd be easier if I did it from over here, because I know that the turbine is going to match the height of the reactor. And so we just kind of do the same thing with the casings of the reactor, with the turbine casings here, and we're just going to build a shell. All of these blocks need to be the turbine casing blocks, but a lot of the other blocks can be the glass blocks, and I'm going to use glass blocks basically wherever I can in these builds. Okay, so let's see if we can't complete that, and we can, so that's cool. So that is cool, and so what we're going to do is just kind of complete the casing here, and here we kind of have our shell, so that's cool. And let's add these coolant ports next. The coolant ports can be directly adjacent to the coolant ports of the reactor. So that's how I generally build my turbines. That way I don't need any conduit to carry the liquids. And once again, we do need to set these to be one as an input for steam and one as an output for water. And that's how we do that. Next, let's set up the power taps. And the power taps are going to be right here and here. That way I can have just one conduit right here and it connects to both turbines. So that's cool. So I do see a phantom up there and I don't super like that. So I'm actually going to go to sleep right now. And I'm going to come back. I'm not going to build a roof on this building quite yet because, like I said, I will extend this building in the future and add more turbines and make the reactor bigger. So I'm not going to have a roof on this building for the time being, and probably not for the foreseeable future, to be honest. Because this is just a super easy way to increase the power production. It's just to increase the size of the reactor and everything. So I think I'm done with the casings, actually. So I'm going to keep a few casings just in case. But we need these turbine rotor bearings, and actually I think in this iteration of the mod we might need one on either side. This is actually something that I haven't done yet, so let me make 2 more of those. I do have this automated, so I'm going to build 2 of these because I kind of think that this iteration of the mod you require turbine rotor bearings at either end of the rotor, or the rotor shaft rather. So let's go ahead and install the rotor shaft. So the rotor shaft is just going to run along the length of these turbines, right down the middle. Like that. And let's go ahead and install the terminals, basically where we control the reactor or the turbines from. And they're going to be right here. That way you can access both of them within close proximity. And then let's go ahead and start adding the turbine glass. And that's basically going to be most of what we have left. I still need to do some of I need to install the turbine rotor blades. So let's go ahead. And my cat's going crazy right now. I'm not really sure why. So once again, we should be able to use this wand, and I do need to have it to the none restriction. That way I can just build all the way like that. And there we go. We have a lot of glass there. I'm not going to build the end yet because I actually need to add the rotor blades here. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to have 8 rotor blades on each kind of plane here. Oh my goodness. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is all I'm going to have. And then next I need to add some sort of coil, turbine coil. And basically you can use a lot of different metal blocks here. The best turbine coil in the game is ludicrite. So let's take a look at the ludicrite recipe because it is pretty expensive. There are actually two recipes for these ludicrite blocks. The recipe I'm using is this right here, ender pearls, blocks of emeralds, nether stars, because I have a lot of them now that I set up my Woot mod factory. And then plutonium you actually get from a cyanite reprocessor. Basically, you take cyanite, which is used fuel from the reactors, from bigger reactors. You throw it in a cyanite reprocessor with water, and then you get plutonium. For each 2 cyanite you throw in, you get 1 plutonium. So to make the coil, we simply wrap this ludicrite around this turbine rotor shaft, and we can go ahead and use this wand to make it a little bit easier. And it does need to be in a pattern like this. You can't have, say, ludicrite like over here. I don't think will work, although they may have changed that. So the last thing I need to do is kind of seal up the end of this turbine right here. So let's go ahead and do that. In past iterations of the mod, you actually needed a turbine casing right there on the other end of the rotor shaft. But I think this iteration of the mod, I'm going to need one of these turbine rotor bearings. So if this doesn't form up, that's the first thing I'm going to do. So yeah, let's replace this with a turbine rotor bearing. And it actually makes a lot of sense that you would need 2 turbine rotor bearings. So that works, and that is formed up. So as we can see, we have a GUI here. We can toggle this thing on, and we can increase the flow rate. I think the maximum flow rate in the old version was 2,000 millibuckets per tick, or 2 buckets per tick of steam. Okay, so actually I think, okay, by default it is set to be at its most efficient rate, I believe. Because I only have 56 of the turbine blades, and this is kind of one of the intricacies of this mod. Because I only have 56 blades in there, it can only handle a certain amount of steam efficiently. And I think that amount of steam was 1.4 buckets, and I'm not sure what the exact number was there. And once again, we can use shift and control to move this by more. I'm going to start out at 1500. I actually think I need to give it more steam than that. But I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build this other turbine off camera, and once I have that done, I will be right back. So now I have both turbines built and the reactors obviously built. So I need to go ahead and set up a few things. So I need to get raw water into the reactor, so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to be using aqueous accumulators as well as mechanical pipe to get the water in there, and I need a water source block as well. So let's grab all that stuff, and let's come down here. So let's actually build the mechanical pipe first. So that will come down to these aqueous accumulators that I'm going to have in the floor here. So let's go ahead and dig out some areas, and I'm just gonna punch them right into the floor here. And you know what, I'm actually going to get rid of these sandstone blocks, because that is going to annoy me that they're not all stone blocks. And let me actually grab some stone blocks. Do I have stone? I don't have stone in there. That's unfortunate, but I can come over here and get stone. I just want it to look as nice as it can, and it'll look enough. I feel like it'll look nicer with stone. So let's go ahead and run down here. Let's install the stone. And then let's install the aqueous accumulators. So they are going to be here and here. And then I just simply need these ultimate mechanical pipes to run into them. I will need my configurator to configure these pipes to be outputs. And now I just simply make sure that there are infinite water source blocks around my aqueous accumulators here. So let me do that, and that should be good. And then there and there. I think all of them are infinite water source blocks now. So that's cool. And then we need to come up here and grab a configurator. Unfortunately, I left this over here. Actually, I don't even know that I don't have it with me. That's unfortunate. And actually, there are a few things I still need to grab, unfortunately, that I seem to have forgotten. So I need a configurator, first off, and then I need some ME stuff. So let's grab the configurator, and then let's grab some ME covered cable. Maybe some facades as well. So that should be just about everything I need, hopefully. So as we can see right now, there is no water in the reactor, and there's no fuel in the reactor. There's nothing in the reactor. So let's go down here, And let's set these bad boys up to be outputs. Like so. I'm just shift right clicking here. And water should be flowing into the reactor. So let's see if that's happening. Okay, that's cool. We got 36.6 buckets of water in the reactor. This does use water rather quickly at times, so we do need to have quite a bit of water there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to set up the I/O as far as getting fuel into the reactor. So I can do that pretty easily through my ME system. So let's cut into this right here. And what I'm going to do, or my underground layer here. So let's grab my facades. Let's put a cable here first off, and then we can facade this up to make it look nice. And then we'll have cables here. I didn't mean to do that. I do need one of these to be output and one to be input. So let me double check that I didn't adjust anything. Okay, actually, I feel like we might need... this might eject into the world, and I'm not 100% sure. If it does, I might need to set up a hopper instead of directly having an import bus there. I will need to monitor that situation. But for right now, all I want to do is I want to hook this up to my ME system right here. And there we go. Now that's hooked up. Actually, nothing's hooked up yet because I don't have any import buses or export buses. So what I need to grab are... I need to grab an import bus and an export bus. So it'd be actually easier if I just typed in bus here. I don't have redstone. That can be easily. I do need to set up some automatic processing. That's one thing that I super need to set up. Because right now I have to manually process my redstone by taking it over here and just throwing it in here. And I run out rather regularly. So yeah, that's something I need to set up. That'll probably be in the next episode as I'm going to do some more processing. But for right now, let's go ahead and just complete this. So I need an import bus, I need an export bus. And I do also want some acceleration cards here, just to get this reactor going as quickly as I can. I'm not going to worry about grabbing a hopper right now, but I might need to do that in the future. I know in the past you could put an import bus directly here and it would work just fine. But I think this might just eject the waste into the world. I'm not 100% sure. So let's put an export bus. I am going to put some acceleration cards here, and I'm going to tell it to export uranium ingots. So let's come up here. Is it filling with fuel? It is. So cool. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on, and it's going to produce way more steam than I need. I thought it would produce way more. Okay, yeah, it's producing way more steam than I need. So what I want to do now is I want to insert my control rods quite a bit. Let's try 90%. I know that's probably going to be way too much. Okay, or not. I should have turned it off. Wait, how is it still going up in temperature? It's because my turbines aren't on. Oh my goodness. So I need these to be on before they can accept the steam. So that was the problem there. And cool, they're rotating, they're creating energy. Right now the energy is not going anywhere because I don't have them hooked up to anything. This should be going down in temperature. Let's go ahead and turn this back on. It really... actually, I didn't do all of them. So I need to Alt to apply to all rods, and then Control to insert by 50%. So let's start off at 80%. That's probably going to be too much, or not enough throttle, rather. So the temperature is dropping. That means I'm not producing enough heat to make the steam that I need. So let's go ahead and try this again. Let's raise this up to 60%. So the less I have the control rod inserted, the more... Okay, so I'm making 2.1 buckets per tick, and I need to be making about 3 buckets per tick. So I am a little bit low. So let's go ahead and increase that even more. And actually, I'm going to do 30. It may take just a little while to fine tune this, so now I'm producing way too much. So 40 is probably also going to be too much, to be honest, just looking at how much it jumped there. So irradiated steam. I didn't know that it made irradiated steam here. I don't know if there's any difference. Irradiated steam. I hope this doesn't cause any bad side effects here, because I haven't used this version of this mod. Okay, so as you can see, we have our energy buffers are full, which is to be expected because I don't have them hooked up to anything. Let's go ahead and hook them up to something. So to get the energy out, I'm going to be using Ultimate Universal Cables, which are top tier energy cables from the mod mechanism. So I'm just going to drop this down, and we're just going to go straight over, I think. And I should run into my energy cable that I have currently or already installed underneath my streets. And it should be right here. There it is. So cool. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do some of this between episodes, is I'm actually going to rip out my old reactor because I won't need it anymore. And this will basically replace that reactor as far as power goes. And then I'm going to also need to reroute some of my cables here, because basically all of these cables come from the reactor, which is actually right down here. You can barely see it. It's under the ground underneath my street, but all of my power comes from there, and it'll be fairly easy to just rip that out and then replace the energy cables with the ultimate variant. That's going to take quite a while. So I will probably go ahead and do that off camera between episodes. But for right now, I think this is a pretty good wrapping up point. I guess I might want to tune my reactor a little bit better, because I could probably make things a little bit more efficient here. These turbines, when they're in certain RPM ranges, they actually operate best. And in the past, those ranges, okay, it's the same. In the past, the range was 900 or 1800 RPMs are the two most efficient zones. As you can see, this turbine is just at 1100, so actually its output is actually going down because it's getting to its most, or its least efficient range at producing energy here. So I actually do want to get these to 1800 RPMs. So let's actually increase the amount of steam I'm giving them. And what we can actually do to speed these things up quite a bit quicker is turn the coils off so that it will spin up quicker. So I'm also going to increase the amount of steam I'm giving it. So let's go 1700. That's probably going to be too much. Actually, I'm not even sure that's going to be too much. So let's turn the coils off on both of these and let them spin up a little bit. Let's go ahead and increase the flow rate over here as well to 1700. And that means I will probably need to increase the throttle of my reactor, because I think that was only making 3.4 buckets. Let's just increase this just a little bit. I am holding Alt right now, so let's increase this to 36. And so that controls all of the fuel rods all at the same time. So my temperature is still dropping a little bit, which means that I will need to increase this just a little bit more here. So let's do 34%. That might be good. And then let's come over here and see where my turbines are at. So they're at 1600. If I re-engage this, is the RPM going to continue to rise? It is. That's kind of what I want to see. So 1800 is our target. If we run a little bit faster than that, that is perfectly fine as well. So let's go ahead and re-engage these coils. Okay, so the speed is dropping a little bit. Let's go ahead and increase the flow rate to 1750. So it's still dropping. If we go 1800, still dropping. So as you can see, the rotor efficiency is going down. Actually a decent amount. Okay, so in the past, this design would actually work fairly well as to getting the turbine up to 1800 RPMs. But it looks like they did tinker with the rotor efficiency a little bit. So I'm not actually getting the efficiency. I actually need to get this. What happens if I just increase this all the way? Okay, we can actually increase this beyond 2 buckets, which is something that I don't think you could do before. And my turbine's actually not... Okay, it's barely spinning up at this point. So there's a lot of waste here. At this point, the added steam I'm giving this is probably not helping much, because as the efficiency goes down, it actually hurts me quite a bit. So let's try to... Okay, so it's definitely helping. Let's do something extreme. Let's try 2500. That's way outside the efficiency. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that. So in the past, this mod actually threatens to explode your turbines if you ran them above 2000 RPMs. I don't think it ever actually implemented that feature. So I'm just going to shut it down, and because there's a chance that they did implement the feature in this version. So I'm going to up this to, let's do 2.5. And then let's go ahead and turn this on to see if we're still dropping, so that's fine. So to be honest, this turbine design might need to be tinkered with to make it better, because it's operating in an efficient zone, but it's not at its most efficient. I would like to operate it right around the 1800 RPMs, because you do get more energy. And I probably need to tinker with my reactor over here, because now I'm going to be using a whole lot more steam than I can provide. So let's go ahead and do this. Actually, my reactor is... Am I actually getting the amount of steam I'm requesting? Because that might be something that's not going on here. So it's actually kind of hard to tell whether they are or not. They actually shouldn't be, or one of them shouldn't be, because I am not producing quite 5 buckets of steam yet. So I'm just going to crank this reactor to full throttle and see if that gets me 5 buckets of steam. I don't think it will. It does, actually. I didn't think that would. So let me see if my turbines are still spinning up. So sorry, this is taking longer than I thought here. Okay, so this steam tank is full. So that indicates it's getting as much steam as it can handle, and this one is filling. So that's good to see. I am going to throttle down this reactor just a little bit here, because I want to make it as efficient as I can. In the future, what I might do is I might go ahead and lengthen these turbines by 1, so I can add 8 more rotor blades, and that should fix my little efficiency problem there. So yeah, it looks like that is just about perfect. I do want this to be as close to 5 buckets as I can, and right now we're at 5.018 or so. So that's cool. I do want to check if I'm getting any cyanite here. So that's one thing I might need to do between episodes, because I'm not entirely sure if, well, you know what? I don't see it in my inventory, and since I have a magnet, it would have drawn to my inventory had it dropped. And I did go through a fuel cycle. As we can see right here, it does show how much cyanide you have in the reactor in the blue number there. Once that number gets to 1,000, I think it's 1,000, it becomes an ingot and is ejected. So yeah, I think everything's working as it should. I may need to put a hopper on this reactor access port to get the cyanide out and back into the ME system, but I don't think I do, actually. So I think that's a good wrapping up point for today's episode. So in today's episode, I set up this reactor and 2 turbine combination. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, because basically I was building all of this from my past experiences using previous incarnations of this mod. This incarnation of the mod seems to have changed things just a little bit, and so I may want to make these reactors 1 longer in the future, and that's something I will probably end up doing, because as you can see right here, this is really bad efficiency. So I can make much better use of my steam if I add 8 more rotor blades to each of these turbines. And yeah, that's something I'm definitely going to do, but not right now. So if you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to drop a like down below. And if you enjoy watching automation type stuff in modern Minecraft, definitely consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Anyways, signing off, I am Minecraft Phenom 08, and I will see you next time.